What is going on, everyone? This is Andrew O'Connell with Pristine Capital, coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is December 29th, 2020. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content, and I will continue to make it for you. Today we're going to be talking about the price action, the indices, the volatility spike. We're going to go under the hood and check out the sectors and style factors, and there is a lot to unpack in those sectors and style factors today. We're going to take a look at some of the trades I took, and then we will wrap up some options order flow. But before we jump in, quick risk disclaimer: nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan. And last but not least, do not YOLO your entire account into any one of my trades. All right, so with that being said, let's dive right in. So we have only a few days left in 2020, which is pretty cool because 2020 was an abomination of a year. Now, to be honest, my year was actually pretty good, as bad as that is to say. Not much change for me, so I'm pretty grateful for that. Yeah, here we are, only a couple of days left. We are counting down, and there's not really all that much going on in the markets. So we have the S&P 500 down 0.19%. We had the QQQ up 0.09%. And our big loser for the day was IWM small caps down 1.94%. And we have the Dow Jones down 0.18%, pretty much unchanged. So let's take a look. On the surface, not much happened today. So we had a bit of a doji candle. We did close. It is a red candle, closed off the highs. But in the grand scheme, we are still just treading water, moving sideways. Not really much to say in terms of the headline index. Let's take a look under the hood really quick. And we're going to look at our heat map just to see if there was anything more interesting, under the surface. And you can see a lot of these FANG names were green earlier in the day. Only a few ended up closing green. But we had some strength in healthcare, medical devices, some strength in financials. But then other than that, there was a lot of weakness as well. So we'll have to dig in a little bit deeper. Let's take a look at the Qs. And the Qs pretty much hold like Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, all those mega cap tech names. And you can see still on that bullish trend, just a little bit of a pullback. We're actually still up 0.09%, but it looks like there was some selling throughout the day. But yeah, the trend is still intact here. Not really much to say with the Qs. Pull up the small caps, which is, the biggest story of the day today in terms of these indices. So you can see for the past 2 months, the small caps have been on a bullish run. It's been a hell of a run for those small caps. And you can see pretty much the entire time we've been trading above that 5-day exponential moving average. Today was one of the first days where we actually closed decisively below the 5-day EMA. So we'll have to see. Overall, it's still a really bullish trend, and we haven't even tagged the 20-day simple moving average yet. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens, but this is, definitely the first sort of chink in the small cap armor where, close below that fast moving average. So we'll have to see if we get some follow through downside tomorrow. And then the Dow Jones. I don't even have to pull the chart up. You already know what I'm going to say for the Dow Jones. Pretty much nothing. Still just moving sideways. Not really anything crazy with the Dow Jones. But the craziness is in these sectors and style factors. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people were caught off guard today. I certainly, took some damage as well. But I'm pretty, comfortable with the risk I have on my portfolio. And, it's just a little bit of a pullback, so not really that big of a deal. So you can see that our sectors, we had the ARC Genomics Fund, which had been leading in terms of momentum, took a big hit, down 6.64%. We had the solar stocks, also a big-time leader, down 3.28%. And we had the ARC Innovation Fund down 2.69%. I actually bought the dip in that one. It's pretty interesting there. And then, one of my favorite sectors, YOLO, the cannabis space, also down 3.26%. So today, it looked like some profit taking, and really everything that's done incredibly well just took really heavy losses today. So in the grand scheme, like these moves in solar, ARC Genomics, cannabis, all these, in the grand scheme, they're just very small pullbacks. If you're one of those people that, was getting long on the highs, maybe you got shaken out of your position. And then another standout was K-Web. The Chinese technology, we talked about these in yesterday's video. Actually had a really nice bounce back today. So you can see, K-Web, it looked like we might be slipping into the abyss here. And you can see dip buyers came in, saw the value in these Chinese internet names, and bid this back up. You can see some of the, the relative strength in here was in Pinduoduo. And you can see, breaking firmly above the monthly value area. So let's see if there's any follow through tomorrow. But yeah, you can see really high volume on this candle as well. So this one's going to be on my watch list for that next leg up. So we'll see. And then kind of like jumping out of order here, but since we're talking about Chinese internets, we have Baidu, the one that I do have a position on. You can see pretty much a doji candle, nothing too crazy to write home about, but we did close the day up 1.03%. And slowly but surely, we're going to find out, are the buyers going to take control or the sellers? I'm hoping the buyers, because I do have those February calls on still. But I do like this sideways action, I must say, because you can see that 20-day simple moving average. Every day it's moving a little bit higher and a little bit higher, which means every day this stock is getting a little less overbought. So we'll have to see with that one. I like Baidu a lot. In terms of our style factors, we had the international momentum style factor leading, which probably makes sense given the strength in K-Web. And then we have international value also leading. So it just looks like the international stocks, are performing today. And then in terms of our laggard, we had cyclicals down 1.68%. So a lot of moves, pretty much like, a lot of the things that everyone's been making, a ton of money on this year, are just continuing their correction, decline, whatever you want to call it. So like Fubo, looks like it's stabilizing here a bit. One of my favorites, Apps, Digital Turbine. That one down, 5% today. Would be nice if we could get a tag of this 20-day simple moving average. I'm actually going to set an alert there. That's probably where I want to buy the dip. So I'll set it, right there. Okay. So yeah, we got that set up. What other names were just getting crushed today? Chewy. Chewy closed down 1.82%. Another one that just sort of went parabolic. This company QS. So if you got destroyed today, just take that as a lesson. Like, maybe you had a little bit too much risk in, a certain style factor, which is, the small cap growth. And another thing I want to bring up, because this is something that, I've been getting wrong. And now that I learned, it just clicked in my head. Just want to share it with you guys as well. I'm sure a lot of you guys know this because I'm like an idiot for not. But so for the most part, when people hedge, it always makes sense. Hedge with an instrument that is very similar to, the stocks that are in your portfolio. That way you're actually hedging out your risk. So like, when I was hedging out growth exposure, a lot of the time I would use the Qs as a hedge. What I realized is that that's really not a good hedge, because I took a look at the holdings in the Qs. Like I said earlier, the top holdings are like Apple's like a 10% weight, Microsoft is a 10% weight, then you have like Facebook, like pretty much all the mega cap tech names make up the Qs. And those mega cap tech names are going to behave a lot differently than securities like Apps, like Chewy, all these names that are much more like niche, like small cap companies and like hyper growth names. They're going to behave a lot differently than like Apple. So I've been using the Qs, but moving forward, if I ever want to hedge out, like my really like hyper growth speculative names, I'll be using this one, IWO. Because you can see this one actually had a similar, downside move to some of the other securities we just looked at, whereas Qs has been behaving totally different. Same thing on the value side, there's IWN. Like I said, I'm sure a lot of you guys are already aware of this, but this is just something that, for whatever reason, clicked with me today. So yeah, just in terms of your hedging, make sure you're using the appropriate vehicle. So that's a side tangent. That is just my public service announcement for anybody that didn't know, like me. In terms of my trades and my watch list. So we already talked a bit about K-Web. APSG. This is one that I put on. I put it on for Leduc Trading Clients. APSG, Apollo Strategic Growth. Oh my gosh, this one had a nice green candle. Let's go. So I put this one on earlier in the day. And this is Apollo Global Management. This is their SPAC. So it hasn't moved yet to 1075. Earlier in the day, it was at like 1050 when I bought it, or like 1042, I believe. So this is one where your downside is to $10. They haven't announced their acquisition target yet. And the Apollo Group, they are known for their expertise in value add strategies, their expertise in private equity and capital allocation. So they have a really good name behind them, and I'm sure they're going to pick something, at least decent. So this one to me was sort of a no-brainer. Like, why would I not allocate to the Apollo Group? When, like, their bread and butter is acquiring companies and, like, making them better and all that. So, yeah, this, I had an APSG. I bought the dip in ARC. This is one I've mentioned a bunch of times in these videos. I always, whenever these ARC funds correct, I just have an allocation to these funds, and every time they correct, I just add a little bit to it. I just buy the dip. And then, so rather than like on this correction here, like I was adding in here, I added in this one here. So who knows, maybe this one goes much deeper. Like it could correct, for all I know, back to the monthly value area or, the 50-day simple moving average. Who knows, but I saw this one break below the 20-day simple moving average, and I was like, you know what, I'm going for it. So I just picked up some common shares. It's one that I just want to hold for the long term. And what's so funny is everybody wants to own these when they're just going parabolic. And it's like, man, if only I could get a correction. I just love these funds and the vision that they have for these companies. But then once it starts correcting, people, run out. Like there's, like it's the apocalypse or something. But it's like, it's still the same company, still the same management team. It's just a little bit cheaper. So I just decided to buy the dip there. And then that was all I did for today. I just tried to, not really make too many decisions. Like I did buy the dip in one thing, but I didn't want to just like go all across the board and start buying the dip in everything, just in case we get a deeper pullback. Then the other one I wanted to call out was Expedia. This is a position that I established about a week or two ago. Talked about it in my video. And Expedia, in my opinion, is looking really good here. So you can see I remember specifically saying like, Expedia is not breaking below this point of control. Every time it does, it wicks out. And then I saw some options activity, showing people were going for leaps in Expedia. So I did the same thing. I bought like some July calls, and I bought some Jan 2022 calls in Expedia. And I bought the 130 strike. Probably when Expedia, I was buying when it was around like 122. So yeah, those are finally in the money. And, I have a lot of time on this position. Even if it goes sideways for a while longer, I feel comfortable with it. So we'll see. This one is definitely one of my more like high conviction ideas, just because the trade location was pretty good. And once that vaccine starts being distributed, I would think more people are going to have, travel plans. That's really what Expedia is for. So we'll see. But that about does it for my trades, for my watch list. So let's take a quick look at some options order flow. I'll let you guys go for the night. Oh my gosh. And I am going to be posting my affiliate link for Cheddarflow in the description to this video if you're interested in doing a 7-day free trial. Yeah, Cheddarflow, I just really like this product. This is one that, I wouldn't recommend just anything, but this one, I use it every single day. It's been helpful in my trading workflow. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so let's see. We have a big order in Amazon, which is pretty interesting. Amazon had a nice day today. It's for December 31st. It's most likely a stock replacement play. Amazon showing some power, up 1.16%. It didn't really get like some crazy breakout follow through, but Amazon continues to look good here. Baba, which is interesting because Baba staged a really nice comeback today. So yeah, there are a couple players coming after Baba, and it ends up being a nice trade on their part. Because a lot of times when you get these moves, you get sort of like a washout, and something will just get way, way oversold. So you can see, oh my gosh, yeah, Baba got back to like pretty much the pandemic lows. So yeah, that really interesting trade. It takes a lot of guts to, put something on like that, but it looks like it worked for those players that put it on. See some puts for plug, which is interesting. Before it was all calls. And yeah, puts for IWM as well. Maybe that momentum train is, coming to an end. Because I haven't seen puts, rain down an IWM like this in a while. Let's see plug. This one I've traded a couple times. Okay, so interesting. They probably bought those puts on plug like right on the lows of the day, which is kind of funny. But yeah, plug putting in a bit of a hammer candle. This actually looks interesting in terms of like a dip buy. So I'll be watching this one for tomorrow. But that about does it for this market recap video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and really just for supporting the YouTube channel, supporting the Twitter. I really appreciate it. And I will see you all tomorrow.